In this video, we will show you how to create dialogues in IMS Creators using the example of our Klondike project, which we are developing live. This is a turn-based strategy game in which, as the player moves across the field, he gets into various random events. We will download the created random events from IMS Creators and use them directly in the game engine. Therefore, before proceeding to the most random event, we will lay the foundations. A random event depends on the type of cell on which it occurs. To assign them, we will create an enumeration cell type with 4 values: plain, hills/rocks, rivers/lakes, and forest. We will assign a service name to each value, which will be used in the engine. Similarly, we will create an enumeration for the event type: regular, common, obstacle, danger, source, village. We will have a lot of random events. Let's create a template for them that will define the overall structure. It will contain a description, a table with properties. We will give her the service name props to access the parameters from the engine. The type of cell. We will specify the type of enumeration and note that one random event can occur on several types of cells. Let's choose a specific type of enumeration. We will also set a service name for the parameter by which we will access the value from the engine. The second property is the event type. Here, we will select the enumeration radio buttons type for convenience, so that the selection options are immediately visible. And we will also set the service name. Now, let's add the most important block, the script block. We will also give it a service name, and in order not to create it separately everywhere, we will immediately create a starting node. Now, let's move on to our random event. Let's change its type to our template. Our blocks from the template will immediately appear in the file structure. Let's fill in its properties. The event will take place on hills and rivers. His type is an obstacle. Now, let's start creating a dialogue. Copy the introductory text, and we'll insert it as a cue. Since we are not really having a dialogue, but a random event, we will adjust the phrase fields, delete the character. Instead, we'll add an addendum, the text that will play the role of the character's reactions in the game. Let's copy the additional text. Now, let's start adding options for actions. Copy the text of the options. Some options will require resources to activate them. The player must see what they will spend when choosing. Let's add this as a parameter. You will need to have 5 tools to strengthen the bridge. Other phrases can be hidden if the player does not have the appropriate equipment card. So, for the first one, he needs a rope. We need to add a card check. To do this, we will use the trigger block. This is the connection of the dialogue with the engine. Let's call it has card, and add an input parameter, which card we want to check. To do this, select the type of the element parameter and specify its specific type. Now, let's add the output parameter, the result of the check. This will be a Boolean value of yes or no. Let's choose the rope card, add a condition to the first choice, binding the trigger output to the condition. Now, let's start asking what will happen with this or that choice. With the first option, there will be a random choice of 2 branches. To generate a random value, create a random trigger. It will have an output parameter, a number from 0 to 1. Now, add a branch selection node, depending on the condition, and bind the comparison result. Let's add a comparison of the drop number with 0.3. This will be a 30% chance. Creating a phrase for the yes option and copy the value. With the first option, the leader in the squad loses the value of the spirit. Let's make a trigger to determine the leader. It will give us the character ID. Now, let's create a trigger to change his spirit. Change spirit. The input parameters are the character ID and the value change. This branch, the bridge collapses and the cell event is replaced with another one. This will be handled by the replace cell trigger. Let's create a collection of our random events for convenience and move our event there. Now, we will add the Abyss event, which will replace the have-routed bridge. Let's go back and add a parameter to the trigger to select a random event. There, we will choose the Abyss. This branch is completed. We will add the ends to the node so that we can see the completed branches. The second branch is also finished. Let's move on to the second option and create a phrase for it. In this case, the player loses 2 action points. The use AP trigger will be responsible for this. It's all here. Let's move on to the third scenario. Here, the player rolls a die, which decides his fate. The dice roll trigger. We'll have a need parameter, which will indicate which value should appear on the die in order for the check to be successful. Add in the test result as the output value. We'll link the branch block. We'll add a line on success. In this case, all the characters get a code. The change frost of all trigger. Add in the value parameter. The branch is completed. In case of failure, there will be 2 scenarios. Copy the random selection nodes from above. Copying the phrase of the worst-case scenario. -4 spirits, injury to a fracture of one of the companions, and the bridge is also replaced by a chasm. Let's make a trigger to select a random character. Get random companion, which will return the ID of a random character. Copy the trigger to change the spirit and change the value. Next, injury is a card that is added to the hand. Let's make an all injury trigger for it with the input parameter of the card. Creating a broken bone map in the map collection. Let's go back and select this card. We will also add the parameter ID of the character who is being injured. And we'll link it to a random character that dropped out. Copy the node for replacing the event with the Abyss event. This is the end of the branch. Now, let's make a more favorable version of the failure of the dice roll and copy the value. A random character will also be selected. Copy this node. He is given -2 spirits. And +5 cold. The event will also be replaced by the abyss, so we'll just connect it to an existing node. The last choice of actions remains. Here, too, you will need to choose a random outcome, so we will copy the corresponding nodes. Copying the first line. Four action points are spent. Copy the existing trigger node and replace the value there. Everyone gets cold. We already had such a trigger. Let's copy it. The branch ended. Let's move on to the second option and create a phrase for it. Copy the nodes for the second outcome options. Adjust the value. That's all. Our random event is ready. You can download it from the system and run it in the game engine. See you in the next videos. Subscribe, like, and see you.